So the presentation will be about developing and maintaining a coding community. I will share you the experience that I have gained in my hometown. For those who don't know, I'm from Tirana, the capital of Albania. I am the chairwoman of a local hackerspace in Tirana, which promotes free and open source softwares, and especially the decentralized tech, and we support having the free software also in the other levels, like in the government and the other institutions regarding the open source. In the beginning, building community was really hard because we came from a place and from a political background that volunteering and taking part in something without getting paid was not actually something very welcome. Having said this, because we stayed in like communism for more like than 50 years, it was so hard to get people within the community and to tell them that actually volunteering or contributing for something that you really like can help and can maintain and can really improve the environment within our country. From my experience, I've put some points on what are the best practices to maintain a community and to build one. As I mentioned, having a hackerspace or having the same environment that everyone can just get in and start to socialize or start to talk with each other, it's a very good way on how to start and build one. Regional cross-border collaborations, also, it's a really good thing. In Balkans, we have these things that there are a lot of conferences happening at the same time. So when there is something happening in Albania or in Tirana, people from Serbia, Bulgaria, and other countries, it's really easy to come and enter our country, and we also do the same. So this is a very good way, in my opinion, on how to exchange their experience and how to get the best from each other community. One of the hot topics that usually is when who gets the money and who works for free. So having a balance between the staff and the volunteers, it's really tricky sometimes because you can definitely volunteer for something, but you cannot do this like for the lifetime and for the whole life, because in the end of the day you got also to pay your bills. No gender balance, no community. I will talk about that a little bit later, and I will also tell you how to improve that part. I think that using Wiki or GitHub or other platforms that you can easily see everyone's work is also a very great and good way on how to maintain the community, and so you can put everything there, and the others are free to just check them and to see what they can get or what they can improve. So it's like helping everyone. In big communities, not everyone is a techie, which means that you got to create an environment that is welcome for those who knows how to code and for those who come from history university or local or, I don't know, geography, for example. So having a community that promotes technology, but not only, can make the community very diverse and very inclusive. If you have platforms and you have coders, you can get people, for example, studying for international languages to help and to translate the platform into the local language. And this is what the localization, this is what we usually also do in our community, and we got a lot of new volunteers coming from other subjects rather than coding or software engineering. Collaborating and communicating with other communities, as I mentioned, it's really a good way. So it's really important to localize where is the nearest hackerspace or the nearest co-working space from your place that you're staying. So you can just go there and you can see how things work, and you can also implement that. It's really important when you do this in the region that you live because the differences in the cultures are not that big. So for example, if you go from one Balkan country to another, you see that things do not really different a lot. So it's like kind of the same, and we kind of get the same feeling when we go through the things. Having good documentation and a good design is also a must. So I think that everyone in the community has someone for the design and has someone who knows how to create and how to do all the posters that we might ask for. Offline activity ideas. In the beginning, when we used to create and when we used to invite everyone in the meetups in the hackerspace, it was really so difficult because everyone felt more comfortable working in front of the computer and just doing their work from there. But I think that having the offline activities, it's a really great way to get to know each other and also to socialize. There are a lot of ways on how to do it, like you can just sit around and you can just create some small games on how to break the ice. If you see that there are issues within the community that you would really like to address and that they are really making you not feeling well, one of the offline activities, it's one of the best ideas on how to do it. In the beginning, I was told that in the conference there won't be a Wi-Fi, so I thought that this was one of the best ways also how to engage the people together. So having no internet sometimes, it's good because you have no other choice but talking to each other and share the experiences and everything. And also hackathons and other events, they can definitely work very well if you are in the community. We usually create like 24 hours hackathons, and it is a very good way to bring everyone together and to make them contribute and talk within us. So in the free software communities, as you know, there are like GNU Linux, Mozilla, LibreOffice, Nextcloud, OpenStreetMap, and Wikipedia. What is really interesting is that in most of those communities, most of the people that are contributing are women, and they are currently very active and very willing to participate and also to volunteer on this. On the GNU Linux, we have 5 Fedora ambassadors. We have in Mozilla 3 Mozilla reps and 4 confirmed speakers, 6 official members of the Document Foundation, Nextcloud, I think that you might all heard about it, OpenStreetMap and Wikipedia. When we started first to contribute in Wikipedia, there were only few articles that were in the Albanian language, so you could not even read for our president or for our famous writers in Albanian language because that was very poor, but now we are taking that in a good level, and it's a very good way also to take people that are not techies, are not into technical skills, and to get them contribute. This is one of the photos that we take from the community regarding it was actually a workshop done for the privacy and security. This is LibreOffice event. It was actually Linux. No, so it was Linux weekend. It was a whole event only regarding Linux. And every year we organize OSCAL, which is the Open Source Conference Albania. It is one of the biggest one in Balkans, and it's only regarding free software. It usually happens in 19th and 20th of May, so in the 3rd week of the May. And it's like the place where everyone that is fond of them and it's living around can just join. This is one of the photos that we took from the workshop. The organizing team. And as I mentioned, it is like I think that having a very healthy community means a very diverse and very inclusive community. So even if you have a community with 100 people and you have no women or no people from underrepresented groups, I don't think that that's a very, very good way to have the representations within it and to speak everyone's voice. So I think that including everyone makes something very special and makes something very unique. In FLOSS technologies, the participation of people from underrepresented groups is really low. Only recently it has been like 11%, but it's definitely not in the level that we would like that to see. Only 1.5 of developers are female, and 5.4% of GitHub users with over 10 contributors from random samples are female. And 56% leave by mid-career and they just quit the communities because of other responsibilities. The issues usually that we face for that are invisibility, gender essentialism and social expectations, and sexualized environments. We have, I think that most of you have heard cases where women, or when you see people from underrepresented groups presenting or coding, that might be like there are people who do not really react very well in it, and they see it like something that happens very rare, or probably that shouldn't happen very often because it's a part, or it's something that is mostly done by men. So this is one of the ways that that usually people do, or like what they face when they're in different environments. We have recruited diversity, creative code of conduct, so people feel a little bit like probably more comfortable when they're around others. We value all contributions. It doesn't matter where you know how to code or you don't know. If you want to help, we'll find a way to just bring you on the board and to start helping. We organize also events and conferences, and we try to make them, so like the first thing that we do is that we go in universities or in high school and we just present what we can do, and so everyone can join. And it doesn't matter, our first thing, it's not going into the software engineering universities that, yeah, you definitely find some tech people there, but you can also go in other environments and recruit people. So in the hackerspace, we have, as I mentioned, different communities, and we have faced a problem recently that we are lacking of men. In that picture, I think that happened probably two years ago, and the number of men now, it's way lower than it's in this picture. So when we have the meetings in the hackerspace, we have only like 4 men, and all the rest are women. And I think that it has happened in a very interesting way, because we didn't did it on purpose. We just went and tried to create the environment so everyone could feel just like free to join and without any stereotype. The number of women from the other side has almost stayed the same. Like it has been grown mostly, but from the other side. And actually the 4 men that we had in the hackerspace, they wanted to leave because they didn't feel very comfortable and thought that, okay, we might probably find some other communities where we can live. And yes, so they have, there are a group of people that are programming for, a group of women that are programming for Python or for JavaScript or Node.js. So we have different groups doing different things. But in the end of the day, when we have events, we just collaborate and we just come together and create something unique and something for everyone. This was one of the events happening for PHP. And yeah, so this was my presentation overall. So if you have if you have any question or comment, please feel free. And yes, and someone told me that in the end we can. Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you, Kristi. Before you start asking a question, I should say that the best question will be rewarded from our sponsors, Imaguru. So, Kristi, you should choose the best question after the session.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Here in Minsk, we faced with the same problems everyone when somebody runs the community. We have a very big split between people. It means that somebody have or working in different companies, commercial companies, for example, and these companies concurrents on the market, for example, or we have conflicts with our government because our governments want to suppress civic society activities and hackerspace and coding communities for free. It's this example. It's very hard to collect money because other people, not programmers, think that programmers earn a lot of money and they can pay for everything. So we have this separation between people in every step which we can make in building community. Maybe you can see how you solve this problem in Tirana. I believe that you have something maybe common because of.
Okay, so you mean the funding from the funding perspective?
The most problem which I see here, it's a funding problem, yes. Do you have a lot of contribution, financial contribution from general members of communities? Maybe you have help from European Union, maybe you have help from commercial companies, and how you support the balance between these contributors?
Okay. When you were asking this, the first thing that went to my mind was the situation in Albania. We were having an event, and we invited the Minister of Youth and Public Affairs, and he came in the event, like it was all organized by us, and in the end, he just went to the press and said, yeah, our government did a great job, and we did all of this. And we've been working for that for like months, and in the end, he just said 2 sentences, and he had it. So we decided to not involve the government at all in this process because in the end of the day, they want to sell it as something that is theirs. And they just want the votes and everything. So for them, you have just this. And we don't accept anymore like the direct fundings from the government. What we have done is that we have opened a Patreon. I think that, the Patreon funding. And everyone who wants to contribute, they can just contribute in our Patreon, or they can just donate in our bank account and all these things. And also, because we organize a lot of events, they have also sponsors. And to maintain the hackerspace, you also have to pay a rent, which means that if you organize something or an event, together with a fee for everything, you can also add the fee for renting, or the fee for the program manager, or I don't know, the fee for the design person. So you just try to follow these steps, but in my opinion and in my experience, it's good to keep funding like in a very natural way and from the self-funding rather than getting the fundings from a second party, because it is like the whole process, you are going to be dependent on them. So in the near future, if they stop funding, then you basically stop all your work because you don't know how to, like, there are no other resources rather than the other funding. So in my opinion, like, having a Bitcoin wallet or Patreon can definitely, it has been working for us. We are facing some difficulties, but I think that it's the health way to go. You can also get the direct funding, as I mentioned, by the government, but I don't think that we would like someone else to get all the efforts for something that we have been working on so hard.
And one more question about, is that even students and people in difficult situation also give you some money, or it's just people who have a stable work and who not student will donate you or are donating you?
We have like free entrance for the hackerspace. Everyone who wants to contribute can contribute. If there are people that cannot afford contributing and they do not have enough money to contribute, they can just stay there for free. We give them the resources and the keys and they can just use the environment. If there are people that they are working and they have enough money so they can help us with our work, they are more than welcome to do so, but we don't defer whether someone have the resources for that or not. Like, everyone is super welcome.
And the last question about free entrance in Minsk hackerspace and other like free spaces, we faced with problem of stealing things. It's like it's very difficult to have your own space. If you want to support it like your own, just give everybody access to it, because in months, for example, something will disappear, and it's very, very disappointing for person who contribute by their own things, their like work to this place. When somebody spoiled it, maybe leave a mess or broke something, it's like it's very common, because it's like years I see that people who contribute, they want that other will care about this work, but it's not happening, because how you solve this problem in your places? Stealing, broken-ins, clean up of the space, for example, if somebody need to go immediately and can't clean up the space.
Okay. Regarding the people of like the problem of stealing, you don't make everyone the member, which means there are people, for example, that can stay, but they can only stay where a member is there. And the member is someone that has been contributing for 3 or 4 months, or that has at least participated in the events. So we kind of have a trust relationship with that person. So we have proved them till in a certain point that they're okay with it, and they just go to get the keys and to use the environment when they want. But from the breaking, if they break a glass, it's super fine. We can get another one. But if they break something bigger, which will cause a lot of money, then we'll try to fix it. I mean, if they won't be able like to afford it, we'll try to do a crowdfunding thing to just help him out with that. If that happened accidentally, definitely. Otherwise, we have our own way to fix things when they happened with a certain reason or with purpose. Yeah, thank you. Okay.
Could you please describe the community term? Because here in Minsk we have a number of communities, but each community is just a group of people which is a core, and these people are ready to pay efforts to organize some event or conference, something like that. But if, for example, at Meetup you can find 100 of people, only 5 or 6 of them they really contribute to the event. All other people just came to get some knowledge or get some information or to talk with each other. So when you says, when you say community, what is it?
Okay, so what I mentioned with the community is a group of people willing and having the passion to contribute for something. I think that the thing that keeps the community alive is the spirit that it's spread between and the common thing that they are fighting for. In this example, we are all the community and everyone is up for the free software things and open source. So which means that having all the same purpose and having all the same ideal makes the community and makes the goal even easier to reach. But when you create communities that everyone thinks different, like for a certain and for a very important point that keeps the community alive, then it's so hard to get everyone on board and to make them just go for it, because the process will be very slow till they come up in the same line to just go together. And when they already have the same thought on, for example, implementing something or using something, then it's so hard then to create this line and to just go for it in the further steps. So having all, and I think that having the same ideology or the same perspective for something very crucial makes the community spirit alive and makes what community is actually about and how to continue then to maintain it.
You talk about very abstract things. I mean, I can't realize if people here at the room have the same ideology or not, because I don't understand how should it influence to the behavior. My question was, how often do you have meetings or you combine together? What do you do in certain way and so on?
Okay, so we have events happening every week, but the community meeting happens every 3 weeks. So it's like almost once or 2 times per month. And when everyone is gathered in the community, before the meetup, we open a page and everyone writes there what they have to discuss or what is bothering them. And when the community comes, like that it kind of happens frequently for our time, then everyone is free to just say what they need or what they want to get out of it. So having frequent meetups and having frequent talks regarding the things makes the problems way easier to solve. And
so for you, community is just something that happens once per 3 weeks when you combine together and talk about different things. Yep.
That is the meetup of the community,
Yep.
because that meetup happens when everything else, meanwhile, a lot of things has been going in the parallel. Like, for example, if you have the whole community call meetup, for example, by the end of February, from the 1st of February till in the end of February, in our hackerspace and in our community has happened a lot of events. I don't know, for example, localization of Fedora or mapping of the OpenStreetMap. So there are events going on at the same time. But in the events, everyone, even people that are not member, can just join and can participate. But the community meetups that we can really talk and everyone can just say what they need, it happens once per month or twice per month related to the level of or the number of problems that are actually faced.
And as far as I know, we have no such events here in Minsk. Could you?
Vasily, we have such events in Minsk hackerspace.
Okay, thanks.
We have a lot of communities in Minsk too, but they too separated and not communicated with each other. It's the main problem in Minsk. I believe that it's no cross-community communication because of that.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you for the great presentation.
Thank you very
My
much.
question is, do you in Albania have female-only communities, something like Rails girls or Django girls? And do you think, is it a good way to get more women involved?
Actually, we don't have any community only for women, like, for example, Django girls or only those communities that are only for a specific group. and I don't think that we'll have any in the next months or year. We just have a hackerspace, and it was not even meant to be with more. I mean, it was not our goal to have more women. It just came naturally as the community was growing, because the majority of students in university are women, also studying for software engineering and for tech subjects. So this is like one of the reasons that also we had a lot of women on board, but we do not have, and I don't think that it's good sometimes to have those kind of communities, because it's like because like men, for example, are not welcome at all or something. But in the hacker spaces like this, everyone is welcome, and it doesn't have any like girls or women behind the hacker space. So, welcome.
Unfortunately, our time is limited.
Okay, thank you very much.